In the lush hills of Pulim, Togo, a wealthy cocoa trader faces the ultimate betrayal when his empire crumbles, or so it seems. When his children turn their backs on him, a shocking plan unfolds that will leave you speechless. Dive into this gripping African folktale of resilience, family, and hard-earned lessons. Will they rise or fall? Watch to find out. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share where you're watching from in the comments below. Kofi Mensah sat at his carved wooden desk in the dim light of his study, overlooking the rolling hills of Pulim. His agbada, once a symbol of his stature, hung loosely on his frame. At 67, his presence still commanded respect. His cocoa trading business supplied half the region, his sprawling compound was the envy of the village, and his name opened doors from Lomé to Accra. But tonight, his eyes were fixed on the wall, unblinking, as a quiet shame burned in his chest. His children, his legacy, were a disappointment. His wife had died when the children were young, leaving Kofi to raise them alone. He remembered the lean years, sleeping in a single room with a leaking roof, hawking cocoa beans under the sun and skipping meals to pay school fees. He built his empire from a single stall in Pulime's market to warehouses stocked with cocoa for export. His compound, with its tiled roofs and iron gates, was paid for in cash, every franc earned through sweat. Yet his children, now adults, treated his wealth like air, free and endless. His son, Etsu, 32, had returned from university in Ghana with dreams of big business. Kofi funded his ventures, first a poultry farm that collapsed in 6 months, then a mobile money app that never launched, then a clothing line that vanished after Etsu spent the capital on a motorbike. Each time, Kofi gave millions of CFA francs, hoping Etsu would learn. Instead, Etsu wore Italian shoes and called his failures learning curves. His daughter, ESI, 28, was no better. She declared herself a travel vlogger after university, demanding cameras and plane tickets. Kofi obliged, converting a room into a studio. Her videos gained no traction, and she abandoned them for an online jewelry business. The stock she was meant to sell ended up on her wrists and neck. When Kofi asked for accounts, she laughed, "Papa, I'm building my brand." The final blow came when Etsu's girlfriend, Senna, moved into the compound, pregnant and demanding a room of her own. She left dishes piled high and complained about the village vibe of Kofi's home. ESI, meanwhile, returned with her toddler after leaving her husband, claiming he stifled her dreams. Now, Kofi's compound housed 2 children, a daughter-in-law, 3 grandchildren, and endless noise while only he paid the bills. That night, Kofi pulled a business card from his drawer, Metra Amivi, well an estate lawyer. He dialed. "Amivi, it's Kofi. I want to test my children. If they fail, I'll teach them a lesson they'll never forget." On a humid evening, Kofi staggered into the compound, his agbada rumpled, his face etched with despair. He dropped his satchel and wailed, "I'm finished. Everything is gone." The house erupted. Etsu bolted from his room, ESI paused her Instagram live, and Senna waddled in, clutching her phone. "Papa, what happened?" ESI cried. Kofi collapsed onto a stool, clutching his chest. "A fire in the warehouse. It spread to the market. Thieves looted everything, my stock, my savings, and my trucks. All gone." He sobbed, wiping his face with his sleeve. "Only this house and my old pickup remain. The bank accounts are empty." Silence choked the room. Etsu blinked. "So, what do we do now?" Kofi's eyes narrowed. "You're my son. What do you do?" ESI broke the quiet. "Papa, but my trip to Lomé is next week. I need new outfits." Kofi stared, his voice low. "You're talking about outfits when I've lost everything." He stood, shaking. "This is how I know I failed as a father." He dragged his satchel upstairs, leaving them stunned. The next morning, he didn't emerge. By noon, he dismissed the cook and driver, claiming he couldn't pay them. By evening, the compound felt hollow. Kofi stayed in his room, watching his children through a cracked door, waiting for them to rise. They didn't. And the compound turned sour. The fridge emptied, the generator went silent, and laughter faded. Etsu lounged in the courtyard, scrolling on his phone. ESI stopped styling her hair, sighing loudly as she hunted for giveaways online. Senna cooked only for herself and Etsu, leaving Kofi to eat yam with palm oil alone. One morning, as Kofi swept the veranda, Etsu lifted his feet without looking up, as if his father were a servant. ESI stood before the parlor mirror, adjusting her scarf. "Papa, move small, I need to take pictures." Kofi paused, broom in hand, and moved aside without a word. Senna struck next. She cooked a pot of banquet stew, its aroma taunting the house. She served Etsu and her child, leaving nothing for Kofi. When he asked for a plate, she smirked. "I'm not your cook, oh." Kofi ate dry bread that night, his throat tight with betrayal. Yes, I followed suit, returning with a takeout bag of fried rice. She ate in her room, locking the door. When Kofi knocked, she mumbled, "It wasn't enough, Papa." The grandchildren stopped greeting him, running past with sticky hands. Kofi watched, silent, his heart hardening. By the third week, he fell ill, fever, cough, weakness. He called Etsu for help. "Papa, money is tight." "Just take paracetamol," Etsu said, walking away. Kofi shuffled to the village pharmacy, begging for medicine on credit. The pharmacist, who once called him boss, hesitated before handing over tablets. That night, Kofi whispered, "God, they failed." Slowly, sweeping the compound with trembling hands. His children didn't notice his gaunt face. Instead, they gave orders. "Papa, the floor is dirty again," Esai said, sipping juice. Senna snapped, "You left cups in the sink. Are we animals now?" Kofi's rage boiled over one afternoon when Esai muttered, "Some fathers are building empires, but mine is sweeping like a houseboy." He dropped the broom. "Everyone, come here." They gathered, unbothered. "I am your father," he roared. "This compound, these walls, I built with my sweat. You walk around like kings, but you're nothing without me." Etsu laughed. "Papa, the same compound in my name. The papers say, Etsu Mensa." Kofi froze. Senna stepped forward. "We've decided. You should leave. Go to a rest home. We need peace." Esai dragged the suitcase to Kofi's room, tossing his clothes inside. Etsu opened the gate. "Papa, don't embarrass yourself." Senna smirked. "Fresh air is good for all people." Kofi walked out, head high, wrapper clutched tight. The gate slammed shut. He checked into a hotel in Lomé, ordered banku with tilapia, and cried until midnight. Kofi sat in his hotel suite, staring at the city lights. His phone was silent, no calls, no texts. Rumors reached him, Etsu and Esai were boasting about owning the compound. He dialed Maitra Amivi. "Bring the will tomorrow." "I'm ready." Amivi arrived at 9 a.m., briefcase in hand. Kofi, dressed in crisp white, sipped coffee. "Remove Etsu and Esai as my heirs. My new beneficiary is the Kofi Mensa Farmers Trust, for widows and orphans. Every franc, every warehouse, every plot." Amivi hesitated. "Monsieur, are you sure?" Kofi's eyes were steel. "The market woman I helped showed me more respect than my children. Let my wealth serve those who value it." He signed the will, his hand steady. A week later, he returned to Kulim in a convoy, his pickup, a lawyer's SUV, and a police van. Etsu stood at the gate, shirtless. Esai froze, phone in hand. Amivi presented the quit notice. "This property belongs to Monsieur Kofi Mensa. You have 7 days to vacate." Esai screamed, "Papa, we didn't mean it." Etsu knelt, sobbing. Kofi handed them each an envelope. 10 million CFA francs each. Build your own lives. My legacy is no longer yours. The police escorted them out. Kofi stepped inside, the compound silent. He locked the gate and whispered, "You wanted me gone. Now thrive without me." Left with false bravado, rejecting the 10 million. Etsu moved into a friend's cramped room, launching Etsu Coco Ventures with a loan. The deal collapsed when his supplier vanished. ESI started ESI Glam, an online accessory shop, but lost customers with late deliveries and fake goods. Within months, they were broke. They returned to the compound, humbled, begging at the gate. Kofi refused them for weeks, ignoring pleas from pastors and elders. After 3 months, he let them in. They knelt, tears streaming. "Papa, we've suffered," Etsu said. "We've learned," ESI added. Kofi studied them. "My forgiveness is yours, but my wealth belongs to the trust. This compound is leased to farmers' widows. Build your own legacy." He handed them the 10 million each again. "This is your seed. Grow it." They wept, but this time, with resolve. Kofi watched from his balcony, sipping palm wine. "Let them become someone," he murmured, a faint smile breaking through.